Welcome everyone. It's been a long time. Heidi just told me it's been 10 months. So we're gonna try to get a bit of a chat going here. We're slightly early, about 10 minutes. I think that our streaming that we're going to do here is it's going to be interesting how this works out. Heidi, in the meantime, is trying to log in so she could see what you guys are going to potentially be talking about. I am using a new RV style internet service today. I'll be doing a video on this later, but we'll talk about it a little bit here, and we can actually test it out and see how it does. Even though the conditions that I have it in right now are not ideal, they are pretty decent. Boondocking with Boomer. Yes, we are in a house now. We are waiting. We will be going. That's one of the announcements we'll make. We're going to the Tampa show, and we will be talking to Rockwood again.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
So Heidi's looking for the video. You can turn that down because we don't need the volume anymore. But yeah, we're if you watched, we actually jumped out of our RV about 10 months ago. We were in Kissimmee. We sold our fifth wheel. We came back to Ohio. We picked up a home, and there were some health issues that were involved with Heidi's side of the family, my side of the family. Yeah, me? There's a whole bunch of different things going on that got us to come back here. Hey, Herbie's here. Merry Christmas. But yeah, we will be we'll be back. I don't know if we're going to be full timing. We don't know right now. We think that it's probably going to be. We don't know. I guess that's the best way to know. Okay, so first things first, before we get in these conversations, and then the problem is whenever we only have, like right now, 17 people on, and we get up to, anywhere from 100 to 200 people on, we have people that we'll be repeating ourselves. So what I want you guys to do, if you could tell us, how's my audio? And also now, Heidi.
Testing. Hello.
Tell us how Heidi's audio is. Tell us how the picture is. I've been messing around with the lighting quite a bit. Is it too dark? Is it too light? Can we brighten it up? Whatever.
The sound and video is great. Audio great.
Awesome. I love hearing that. Now, in the meantime, I need to turn on. We have there'll be a slight noise you might hear. It's our projector. I'm going to pull it up so I can see what this looks like on our screen as it actually streams through the other. There we go. Now, Heidi will have to enable chat, or maybe, no, I have to. I'm sorry. This is something I've got to do on my end up here.
Somebody says a shirt is bad. I don't know whose shirt. This says shirt is bad.
Shirt is bad.
So I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure either.
Couch looks comfy.
No, it's not.
It's horrible. Though we can take some naps on it.
Do we miss RVing? Yes, we do. I was actually watching videos today.
I'm too busy to miss
could
RVing.
Be a little closer to you guys.
Hi, Jeff.
You know why we put the camera this distance? I don't know if you've seen our live chats, but almost all of our live chats have been about this distance. And the reason is, this is about how far you would sit across from someone in a room, even in our RV. That's why we have it this far back. However, I will have to say, I do agree with you on one aspect. Earlier, it didn't show the projector like it is now. So let's go ahead and move you guys up a little bit. I didn't see that on the previous, so let's move you guys up. You can see I got a couple cushions there. You know why I got a couple cushions there? Because the couch isn't comfortable. And then maybe down a little.
It looks like you're in Archie Bunker's house.
Yeah, it's an old house.
1933.
33, yeah. This is one of the things that we wanted to do when we got back here. We bought the house outright. We own it. And it's a nice place. It's a brick house. I don't know if you've seen any of our videos since we stopped full-timing and we purchased this home and went through all the trouble.
Oh, you can see that our little spots here. Our grandson, Michael, was watching him. Or Michael wasn't watching him.
Yeah, I wasn't watching him.
And he got into my fingernail polish.
Yes! How nice was that? He's painting on the wall. He's painting on all kinds of stuff. Love the tree on the porch. Oh yeah, that was Heidi's thing. So yeah, to let you know, the house was 1933. This is the living room, the dining room. Then we have the kitchen. Then you go down to the basement, up the steps. There's a landing, a couple more steps, the hallway, 2 bedrooms, a bathroom up there. Back in the living room here, across from me could be a bedroom, but it's my office. Just to my left, front door for the entire big, huge porch that this thing has with big brick pillars. And like I said, it's an all brick house. It's a brick porch. And then going back into the kitchen, there's a half bath there. And then downstairs, full basement. It's not finished, but it wouldn't take much for it to be finished. There's a shower down there. There's a bathtub down there. There's a sink down there. There's a toilet down there. Of course, our washer and dryer. And then, like I said, it's a pretty big porch. We did some, we've shot quite a bit of video on that before. But there's a lot of questions that have been going on with people that have signed up with us recently based on our we've been doing a ton of review videos, so it's not a I don't know how to describe that. That's not a normal thing that we were doing before. And we've got a whole nother audience that we've picked up that's all they're watching is our review videos, because that's pretty much mainly what we've been posting. So we thought that we would sit down, try to catch up everybody who has been with us for a while and people that have signed on with us because of all of our reviews that we've been doing the last 10 months. We usually do an update video once a month around. There was a few months we did more than once a month. But in between there, we've done 3, 4, 5 videos of reviews. So,
mostly because we're stationary.
Yeah, we're stationary. Let's see. We first of all, for everybody that didn't really follow us fully when we were full-time RVing. We didn't always live in an RV. We lived in a home. We talked about that. And we showed that whole process. I revisited some of those videos today because I was trying to find some stuff. We didn't know if we sold it or if our daughter had it, because we gave away a lot of stuff too. And some of these things we were running into, and I told Heidi, I said, man, I wish we still had that. And we thought, well, maybe we'll go back and look, and ended up she did have it, which was kind of funny. But for the people that joined on with us because we've been doing a lot of review videos, we're going to continue. Hey, Mercedes. We continue to we're going to continue to do review videos, because right now, as much as we love shooting videos and I love just sitting and BSing with you guys, and Heidi, she don't mind it so much as long as I keep it under control. She doesn't like a lot of time involved with sitting and talking on these videos. I could talk with you guys for hours. But as much as I'd like to do that, that don't necessarily pay the bills. So we've got to find other ways to make the platform work for us. And one of those is doing reviews. Some of the reviews are paid sponsorships. Some of them are product exchange collaboration. Some of them are product exchange and paid collaboration. Both combined together. Some of them are repeating paid collaboration. Some of them are repeat merchandise. Fix my mic. Some of them are repeat merchandise or product collaborations. So there's a lot of different things that we're doing. We're actually thinking about working on moving product again like we used to when we were in a home. See, one of the things that we do, or did, was a lot of eBay selling, stuff like that. And of course, a lot of repair videos, and a lot of product was placed in those repair videos too. I don't think that I want to get back into the repair part of things so much. I will do repair and update and modification videos for RVs whenever we get an RV. When will that be? We're not sure. We will. This sounds like a bend over and take it. We're going to find a lot of new ways of doing stuff and some old ways of doing stuff when it comes to our RV. So what's that mean? How does this come out in the wash? What do you guys, are going to see on the channel? Well, we will be in Tampa at the RV show. We've been there every year for the last 3 years. Might as well make it, another year. While we're down there, we are going to be interfacing with a lot of what do we want to call those? Merchants? Not really merchants,
Vendors.
but vendors. Yeah, a lot of vendors. So we're not real sure how that's going to pan out. It's one of those things. It's just like talking with somebody that is going to start a new career, or move into a different field, or stay in the field that he is and just going to change companies. To have that person project what that's going to look like once they're there, it's hard to say. I mean, it's really hard to say. Anyways, we're going to take off. We're going to fly out of Cleveland here, and we're going to head down to Tampa, and we'll be there for, I think, about 4 days, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. We're just going to stay in the hotel down there, get a rental car, and then we'll fly back. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting. One of the main reasons we want to go down there and do that is because as of the last time that we had talked with Rockwood, they said that one of their new Flagstaff models, which Rockwood and Flagstaff is the same unit. They're different companies, but they're the same unit.
They're built on the same line.
Yeah, it's built on the same line. You're going to see some differences in decor, maybe some options, some names. Used to be that the Flagstaff was called Super Light, where the Rockwood was called Ultra Light, stuff like that. The model numbers, all that stuff's going to be there. We want to see the new fifth wheels that they have. We're really excited about that, and we have very limited information on it. My best guess is that the new Rockwood Luxury fifth wheels is what Cedar Creek has moved into the Rockwood line. Cedar Creek being a Forest River brand, a higher quality, bigger, 101-inch wide, 42-foot long, full profile fifth wheel. Cedar Creek, I think, has now, because it's the same gentleman that runs that ran Cedar Creek, is now running Rockwood and Flagstaff, and it's just been a short time, and he has moved into that bigger fifth wheel being produced now. So it's going to be interesting to see. I seen a bunch of floor models or floor plans. I seen a couple of the models, and it's interesting. Oh, hey, Jay. Due to house closing on January 16th. Awesome. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about you the other day. We were shopping through trucks again, but we were looking at, it's amazing the price of the trucks, how high they got, and now they're coming back down again. It's funny. It's really, really funny. I don't know how that even works. That was a business decision, by the way, too. For you guys that wondered, I mean, a lot of that, where there was a lot of business decisions that we were making on the whole staying full time and what we needed to do. And we saw that our purchase was for, especially our second truck, was kind of it was during COVID, but it was before all the shortages. It was way before all the shortages were happening. So we got a good deal on the truck based on there wasn't all these inflation added, things going on. And as far as the fifth wheel, that was a situation that worked out to our benefit too. And while everything was just really high priced still at that point, we saw stuff that was everything that we had was going to start depreciating relatively fast. Plus, we had, again, some family health issues back here. Heidi's actually, she had some health issues that, I haven't asked you about that. I think her health has increased considerably, right?
I still have PVCs,
but
I'm sure.
But considering the way they were compared to now.
They're better because they were at 10% when I went to the cardiologist in, April? So I need to go back, but since I started my job.
Yeah. So it's funny because her job has got her tied up quite a bit, but it's making her actually healthy in one aspect and wearing her out in a different way in another aspect. But I'll have to say that her job it's working. I mean, all this stuff is working. All this stuff was pretty much part of the plan. We still don't know how it's going to turn out, though. Hey, Alabama. We had we had enough insight that we knew where we needed to get to, and we do make longer term plans, but I don't think that we went out far enough. When we were in Kissimmee and we released the video that we said, hey, we're going to be selling our RV and we're going to stop full-time RVing. We knew we wanted to get to this point where we're at now. We haven't really had enough of a desire or enough of a direction that has been clear enough for us to now put new plans in place. Heidi and I talk about that stuff all the time. I suggest that's one of the things you guys do. Everybody's got their own way to handle what they're going to be doing in life and at what point in their life they're going to do that. I'm going to be the first one to say that we've done some stuff kind of weird because we're, at the age that we should know where we want to live, what we want to be doing, we want our house to look like, just all that stuff. I mean, and that's just a few of the things. And we really don't know specifically exactly what we want. So we're kind of in a holding pattern. I mean, there's no sense in rushing to a decision when, why run as fast as you can when you don't know if that's even the right direction you should be going. So we're going to kind of wait on that. The whole idea behind the video, though, is to let you guys know that we will be at the Tampa show, and to update you guys with whatever questions you may have, and to welcome everybody that has joined us based on all of those review videos that we do. They have no idea that, through those videos, they're very clinical, they're very specific, and they just talk about product. And I talk about how that product may relate to full-time RVing or being on the road, and how we used those type of products, or specifically that kind of product, if it comes to certain e-bikes, for example, which we seem to have been really getting a ton of those. And those people that have joined on with us haven't really seen or even know that's what we were doing. They just see this couple that since February have put out 30 review videos. And they watch us because of the review videos and don't realize, wait a minute, these guys used to have a camper, they used to travel. I've just seen them in a driveway, doing videos on stuff, and that's about it. So that's kind of what we wanted to do, is kind of catch you up on that. Again, Heidi and I, back going on, 2014, I think it was. Yeah, 2014 or 2015, we started this channel, or we started creating this channel. Prior to that, I still have another channel that I've done a couple videos more recently on, but we started this channel. We had our kids still in school, in high school. We lived in a house that we had been there for, at that point in time, almost 20 years. It had been in Heidi's family for 75 years. Heidi worked a full-time job, and I was working, and I had a small engine shop at the house. We had an old truck, and we had an old RV, and we had a daydream of us going RVing, an RV daydream, a full-time RV daydream. So we started documenting everything that we were going through, just to kind of keep ourselves sane, using our viewers as a sounding board to see what they were thinking, and getting suggestions, which worked out great. Meeting great people, becoming friends with these people. That was a different experience that I didn't expect. And then we started to make a plan, or put together a plan, and we started working the plan. And we had, a range that we thought it would take up to 10 years, as little as 5 years. And I think we did it in 6 or
something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It was shorter.
It was definitely shorter than the long. And I don't think that we necessarily made any mistakes. I think that we learned some lessons. We decided we wanted to do things. If we ever did it again, we want to do it the same way. And the thing is a lot of people want to know that information. I can give you that, but I'm going to tell you that it's like me sitting here and telling you exactly what truck you should have, if you're going to do a truck at all, and exactly what RV you should have.
Everybody's going to be different.
It's impossible. Yeah, it's absolutely impossible. Everybody has their own preferences, their own comfort zone, what they feel as if is the right way of doing things. Other people have, certain ideas of, just something as simple as going out RVing. Full-time RV life is completely different than weekend camping, or seasonal camping even. There's a big difference between being in a camper and being in a fifth wheel, and being in an RV park versus being in a state campgrounds or a private campground even. So a lot of the lessons that we learned, we just kind of shared that over the last 3 years. While we were on the road, we enjoyed ourselves. We saw a lot of the country. 30, 33 states that first year. And it was like 20,000 miles. I remember when we left Ohio, the truck had, I don't know, 1,600 miles on it?
Something like
1,800 miles? And after the first year, we were over 28,000 miles in the first year. That was something. That was that's something. There was a lesson to be learned there. But I think that I think that I'm going to want to make it where, and Heidi too, you know, we're not retirement age. We're not there. I am. It sounds funny even saying that. This year, so this May, I turn 57. Yeah, 5'7". I turned 57. I know I look a lot older than that. That's due to this nice diet called sitting and eating. You should try it, guys. If you want to bulk up, there you go. Sit and eat. And Heidi, you're not going to be 50 this year, right? Oh, wait a minute. You just turned, I'm sorry, 54. You're just getting ready to turn 55, right?
I'll be 54 next year.
Yeah, she's young. She's younger than me, obviously.
So I just turned 53.
Yeah, she just turned 53. So in I got 5 months and I'll be 57. So we're nowhere near retirement age, and we definitely have a definite direction that we think we want to go, but we just don't know how that's going to work out yet. But yeah, more importantly, we wanted to share with everyone that has been with us for a long time that we're kind of settled in here now. We still have a lot of work to do on the house, but after we realized that we got the house to where we can live in it comfortably, we just kind of slowed down with everything because
I started working and
right.
And we just got kind of comfortable, and then winter set.
So how many hours a week, or how many hours did you work last week?
Last week I worked 68.
And how many hours
did you work before? About 70.
And how many hours did you work the week before?
About 65.
You can see what's going on there.
I took 2 days vacation this week, and I worked 55.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That should give you an idea of what she's been doing. I, on the other hand, am trying to find other avenues of revenue. If you guys don't know, if you're not really involved with this as heavily as I am and was, affiliate accounts and Google AdSense have taken huge hits in what they pay out. I mean, a lot. At first, we thought it was just a channel thing. We thought that this might be something that we were experiencing exclusively, and we needed to step up our game. So we did. It's whenever we actually first hit the road, we had saw a decline right before we actually hit the road full time. I mean, when we were still at the house, and we had everybody engulfed in the fact that we were selling stuff, we were showing everything that was going on. We were talking about the house and how we were getting ready for it to be sold. We were buying a new vehicle. We were, adding stuff to the trailer to be a full-time rig, making the truck a full-time rig, getting ourselves prepared for all that, and having everybody, our viewership grow, everybody interacting with us. Everything was just more subscribers, more comments, more likes. And yet our revenue started going down at that point. And we thought, well, this is odd. And not only that, but it corresponded with Amazon affiliates at the exact same time. And I thought maybe I'm doing something wrong. And the way that we knew something was happening was that on my first channel, it was just holding steady and true. It was just the same amount of money every month, and I wasn't hardly posting anything on that channel. Yet here I am, with our channel, and I'm just pumping out product. I'm pumping out product, meaning me, us, in videos and content. And I thought it's got to be us. So then when we hit the road, and we traveled to all those different, we traveled the whole U.S. there that first year. Everywhere we went, we tried to cover everything that we did. We just brought you along. We tried to show you everything that we were doing and brought you along. And yet, with some exceptions, there were some months that spiked. Overall, our revenue was continuing to slowly dwindle. Even though we had more subscribers, more comments, more videos going out, better content as far as I could tell, it just wasn't going anywhere. It just, and like I said, the revenue just continued to slowly dwindle down. So we got to a certain point where after 3 years, the revenue had stayed kind of steady, but it was also really at a much lower rate than we had seen in a couple years. And the channel that I had it posted but just 2 videos on for the whole year was competing with the channel that I posted 50 videos on or 60 videos on for the year. And I didn't understand it. It just didn't make any sense. So nobody could really explain. I watched a few videos. I was getting a bit disappointed by the whole thing. And, we didn't want to really share any of that with our channel because that's not what you guys tune in for. You guys don't really tune in with what are they doing? And I wonder how much money they're making on YouTube and wonder how their Amazon affiliates are going. And none of that, excuse me. We just weren't, we just weren't really wanting to go over any of that because it really didn't make the change. It was kind of just, even like now when I say it, it sounds like there's a lot of complaining going on. It wasn't. It's just me trying to figure it out. I just couldn't wrap my head around what was happening. Being a mechanic, if something's not working, I want to know what I got to do to tune it up and make it a little better or fix it. And this thing it needed a tune-up from what I could tell. And here to come find out that it wasn't a tune-up, it was just something was breaking, something was falling apart there. So whenever we got to that conclusion, in addition to the fact that, again, family health locally, we decided that maybe we should think about coming back and just kind of regrouping, starting over again. And the nice thing about that is it's kind of its own adventure, and it's kind of fun. We were excited to come back. We're excited to get into a house, and even though it was a lot of work, we like those challenges. We like to have those challenges, and that's kind of what we did. I'm just kind of looking over, guys, getting a feel for what's happening here. I can't see numbers or anything.
It's right here.
Okay, so the whole idea behind us now being in a home, and you've seen a lot of review videos, it's us in a holding pattern, and I'm just doing what I think is the right thing to do at this point in time. We have the ability to share with you guys some really good stuff that we've come across, and there are a few different companies that we've worked with and we continue to work with. We're picky people. How many positive reviews have you left? on Google compared to negatives? Probably the same amount, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, probably about the same amount. And I'm going to say that we have a decent amount of people that we have had with us for a while that just positive, just a positive experience from the beginning to the end. And there, some of them still, there is no end. So I thought we would talk about that tonight also. At some point in time, I want you guys, if you anything I say kind of clicks and you say any, you hear something, you go, oh yeah, that's something I was thinking about, or yeah, we need to look into that. I want you to scribble it down on a pad and paper, and then go back and look at our video on it. And then all we ask is that you just use the review or follow the instructions that we talk about in the video, so that the interaction that we have covering it translates into that company knowing that not just with us, but the whole idea of this platform works for their company. Of course, obviously, I'm sure I have some sort of a kickback that happens there. Nobody's getting rich from this. Heidi just told you how many hours a week she's working. Part of that is because of her job title and just the type of business she's in. Obviously, if we were multimillionaires or if we were bringing in $500K a year, she wouldn't be going to work and working that many hours. She might be working part-time because she wants to, but she wouldn't be working that many hours. So let's see. Let's try to go with the companies in the order that I really remember them in. And we jumped on board with. You're going to see a video in, I don't know, probably next month, I'm assuming. You're going to see a video from me talking about a new product from EasyCom. And if you guys don't know, when we were researching high-speed internet, while we were on the road, or when we hit the road, we first started off with our old camper and our old truck. I'm talking about our old 97 F250 HD with the 460 in it, and the 1992 Terry camper. Heidi and I took off, and we went for just over 2 weeks on a trip that took us out of Ohio, down the East Coast, into Florida, down Florida's East Coast, across Florida to the West Coast, and then back up to Ohio again. And during that time, we had the idea that we were going to use a little hotspot router from one of the phone companies. And I think it was Verizon. We used Verizon. Mm-hmm. It was a horrible experience, and it was expensive. And I had limited data. Our T-Mobile phones that we had, which we still have T-Mobile phones, they did okay for their hotspot, but they were limited. They weren't very fast. We had some. We found out that wasn't going to work for us, especially uploading videos. Even though we did with our T-Mobile phone tethered to our laptop. So we kind of researched a little bit when we got back at home. And at some point in time, I called a company called Nomad Internet. And I left them a detailed email, just explaining everything that we wanted to, we were trying to accomplish, and asked them if they were interested. This is one of the few times that we actually called a company, and we asked them, would you be interested in doing some sort of a collaboration? And I got crickets. They said, they actually said, we need to direct you to marketing. Here's the person you need to talk to. Here's the phone number. So I called, and nope. No, nothing. And I thought, there's a reason that I didn't get an answer. I don't know what that was, but all right, let's just forget it. So then at some point in time, we got hold of EasyCom, and immediately, completely different experience there. I was talking to Jesse. He's the guy that runs the show out there. He is the guy. That's his baby. That whole EasyCom thing, that's all from, his noggin. And just listening to him talk, he has a lot of hyperboles and, he really, I thought, well, I don't know. This sounds a little bit too good to be true. I don't know what's going to happen. And I know that third-party resellers is a dirty word or a dirty phrase in that industry. It just, they don't like to, third-party reseller, and there's a reason, because there's a lot of companies out there here today, gone tomorrow. And it could be bad. It could be really bad. You could drop a deposit on a device, and you could sign up for a plan that may work exceptional for 6 weeks and maybe 6 months, and then that's it. They disappear, and then they're not picking up the phone. Kind of reminds me back whenever there were guys that would illegally go down your street. I don't know if you guys experienced this, but there were guys that would show up in vans or drive down the street in old pickup trucks with ladder racks. And they would stop at your house and they knock on the door and they'd have a clipboard and they say, we're doing a promotion for your cable box. And if you give us $100 today, we will give you free all the channels for the next 5 months. But, and it only costs you $150 a month. And then you just pay your normal cable bill after that. I'm sorry, $150 just outright. And then that's the only charge. And it still costs you the same as and here these guys, all they were doing was going out and they were taking the filters off of the cable coming into the house. Back then it was pretty crude. They just put a filter on the line coming off of the cable outside on the telephone pole. They would just take that filter out and hook it up direct, and now all of a sudden you had all the channels. And they were just going down the street collecting $150. Well, after 6 months, that cable sometimes continued to keep on working. Well, you're not going to call up the cable company and say, hey, I still have this free cable and I'm still paying my same bill. Then all of a sudden, somebody would come to the door and say, you're not supposed to have all those channels. And you just say, well, I had a guy come out and I paid him $150 and he's giving me, free channels. Well, sometimes that 6 months didn't get met. Sometimes it was only 2 months before the cable company realized that scam was going on down that street, and they would go out and say, well, you got scammed, and we're making it to where you don't get those channels that you say you paid for. Well, that's kind of the way that these third-party resellers, a lot of the companies were operating. But that's not EasyCom. EasyCom was not that way. And I didn't know that, though. I had to take a leap of faith, and this guy sounded really convincing. So we got ourselves a little router box. He sent it to us, and we had to buy the router box. We signed up for a plan. I think back then it was $80. Was it about $80?
I think so.
And you got unlimited internet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this can't be right. But it
Might have
was.
been a little bit more than that.
I thought it was about 80. But like Heidi said, we could be wrong. It's been a long time. We've been with them over 4 years now. So through the years, as we traveled on the road, we upgraded to a different type of router. And even though he's had another system that has been available for the last couple months, I think it was, we just stuck with what we've had because it worked so well for us while we traveled the whole country. There was times that it was better than other times. It's all dependent. It's a cell tower thing. So that's why we had the antenna. Sometimes we got in areas that was just dead zones. You can't amplify zero. And if you're out there and you're getting zero signal from the cell tower, you can't amplify it. And you might be able to get a little bit more with an antenna, but it's not always the case. And that was pretty rare, actually, as we traveled the whole country with this router just plugged in. Wherever we took it, we plugged it in, we had internet. So now, again, we'll be doing a video on this. We have EasyComm's new quad router or quad service or quad carrier. We have it listed as Quadzilla on our internet thing, just for fun. But it is 4 different carriers all built into one router. So basically, I have a device that's so big, has antennas on it, and it has a cord that comes out of it for a plug that goes in the wall, just a regular household outlet. And I can be sitting here and have it plugged into the wall, or I can be in Alaska, and well, yeah, Alaska, because it's U.S.
Right.
I have it plugged in the wall. As far as Canada's concerned, you'd have to talk with them direct about it. But I can be anywhere in the U.S. I can be out in the desert. I can be in Florida. We can be in Texas. We can be in the snowy Rocky Mountains. But this thing, if I plug it in, we have T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and U.S. Cellular, all in this one device. And whichever one's the strongest, they're all fighting to get the best. Whichever one's the strongest, this thing flips to that carrier and uses that bandwidth. And it's unlimited internet. It's unlimited. We are currently streaming this video with that service because I wanted to see how well it works whenever it's on a higher demand. You know, when you're streaming, live streaming, it's a little bit more demanding. So if we have a break or something here, I wouldn't be shocked because, again, it's a high demand thing. But right now we have T-Mobile internet, which our projector's on, our Fire Cube here. And also all of our wireless cameras and stuff like that. So it's a T-Mobile home internet. We have this streaming service right now going through YouTube, going through the EasyComm device, the quad router. And then we have HEIDI's laptop going through the other AT&T router that we've had for, well, we've had that a while now. It's been 2 years for sure. It's got to be 2 years that we've had that other MoFi router.
I remember we were home.
Oh, was we at home then?
I remember we were at my mom's when he called about that.
Oh.
So it's probably a year and a half at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're probably going to migrate into this other device and no longer have our other router. But anyways, that's the that's the service that we have. That's one of the companies we wanted to talk about today. And again, this is not where this whole video is going. I'm just wanting to cover this stuff. Problem is I get really detailed oriented. So when I'm covering all this information, I'm sure you guys, some of your eyes are glazing over like, this guy's why is he talking about this? I don't care about internet. If you're out on the road, you want a full-time on the road, you better care about internet because, man, that makes a difference. It was nice because we would plug this thing into the RV, into one of the inverter circuits that ran off the batteries, or we would plug it into the truck because we had that 400 watt household outlet inside the truck, and we would have the router in our back seat, and we had internet through there. We had cellular on our phone, but we also had internet if the cell service quit working. So we had T-Mobile. If T-Mobile quit working where we're at, we would try to log into our AT&T router. So that's the first one. The second one that we dealt with was, let's see, in order. The second one we dealt with was Mountain Lock. That has to be in order. Well, SnapPad.
Mountain Lock was before EasyComm.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't think they were.
Putting the bumper on before the internet because the internet just started right before we left. And we already had the bumper on.
Heidi might be right. So it's in between. So Mountain Lock. If you guys remember, that was the bumper. I had that brand new RV, and I'm out there with a Sawzall cutting off the bumper. And I cut that bumper off, and I mounted the new bumper system on with that whole rack system that they had, that Jenny tray system, which their new system is even better. It tilts. You can actually tilt it. Not only that, but we talked with Ralph in an email, probably, I don't even remember when it was, not that long ago. I think we should see them in Tampa, possibly, if they're there.
Yeah.
And he had said that he didn't know when it was going to be finished, but he's a very smart guy, and his engineering skills are very good. And he came up with, I had always complained about, I didn't like the fact that if you had the Jenny tray with what they call the gates up, the little lips up, you could not
mount it over.
You couldn't slide it and mount it over the bumper, because I wanted it to be as close as I could get it to the wall of the RV. And this one put it out further. He said he's working on that. But yeah, mount and lock for storing and having a generator system on the back of the RV.
Definitely worked for us.
Definitely worked for us. And he's a great guy to work with. And we also dealt with Beach Lane. We haven't talked with him in a while because we're not in an RV. And he had a lot of new products that we've discussed over the years. His Beach Lane levelers, awesome. The refrigerator fans, that was a nice addition. And he's had other stuff too. But again, go back and check out that video on that stuff. If you're looking for levelers for your travel trailer, that's definitely...
He might have a new leveler system out too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was working on that.
Yeah.
So the other company that we were dealing with, I guess the next one in order, is Brooklyn Bedding. Brooklyn Bedding, I'm not going to cover very much on that because they're great. We've had no problems with it. You guys see a video from us usually once a month that we talk about it. That's something that we've been working with them for at least a couple years, and they are a great company to deal with. We will be seeing them in Tampa, which is awesome. That's another reason we wanted to go down there. Yeah. We'll definitely see them in Tampa. The next one after that we've dealt with, that we have had really good relations with, and we felt very comfortable with all the way around, is Rockwood. Yeah. We did a lot of research when we were looking to buy an RV. If money was not an object, we would have a Northwood. One of the outdoors, that's it, outdoors RV. And Jim Slifka, right? Mm-hmm. I think he has one. The thing was we looked at Lances, and we looked at Outdoors RV. The Lances weren't big enough, which at that time Heidi and I were...
I'm not a fan of Lances at all, ever.
And I liked how small, and they were like pulling around a really good built cabin that's all locked in place and tight and sealed off and durable, and just a little rock back there you don't have to worry about. And it's small. Well, when we were hitting the road traveling out, so I was thinking, man, I'd love to have that little thing behind me just going wherever I wanted to go. And Heidi was like, we need something bigger, we need something little. And she didn't, like she said, she didn't really care for it in a lot of ways. Mainly because it was small, tell you the truth.
And I didn't like the slide.
Oh, the slide, at that point in time, they didn't have a flush mount slide. They had a step up, but they did that for a reason. Again, engineering, keeping things tight, and build quality. But Outdoors RV, we really liked those, but the money that was involved, we just couldn't come off our wallet.
Yeah, but there also wasn't really a reason that we would need one of those.
Well,
you're not snow.
Right. We had no plans on being in the winter. And they were a true 4 season, everything completely sealed off. Their build quality, like I said, is exceptional. Everything about them is very, very good. They're nice
great
units.
quality.
So we started looking for what we considered at that time a consolation. And we started getting lined up with Rockwood, and we realized that a lot of their stuff matched the expensive outdoors RV. You know, they had really thick walls. They were laminate walls. They didn't do Asdale at the time, but I think now, especially in these new fifth wheels, they're Asdale on the inside and the outside, which is kind of a new thing. They had good insulation. It was really close. And the money at that time, this is pre-COVID, was a lot less. I think that the outdoors RV that we were looking at was 55. I'm pretty sure.
It's like 20,000, wasn't it? Different between the two.
Outdoors RV was like 55,000 for the one that was reasonably equipped compared to the Rockwood that we were ordering with every option that we could get on it. It was 31,000 with all the options. And it's like, man, I just can't see that other one being $20,000 better than the Rockwood. And quite honestly, I mean, now that we had the Rockwood, it wasn't. There's just no way. It's just that there was there's a level that they can demand because of, the way that they build them and the way that they've been doing things. Well, Rockwood, they got me really hooked in with their product. Did we have some small issues with them? Yep. Compared to what I heard as far as other companies and other horror stories out there, I don't even want to mention. I mean, they're so minor. We had some. We had a microwave that quit. That's not their fault. It's just a product failure. We had a furnace that failed. The blower motor. I fixed that. That's not their problem. That was something they got from Suburban, and that's what they got. And it just so happened that one had a broken squirrel cage. The only way that could have got broke is during shipping or building, one or the other. I don't know. But it didn't happen when they did it. The only thing that happened with the Rockwood, as you guys know, that went with Jay knows for sure. We went to Pirate Land. We had water coming in our back window. We had dual pane windows throughout that whole RV. That was an option that we did. Like I said, we put every option up there. And I think the weight of the rear window, and I don't think that they tightened it good enough. I think that the hole might have been cut slightly too large. I'm not sure what happened, but nonetheless, it shifted, and we had to put silicone across on the outside of the window up on top to keep the water from coming in.
I never had any problem after that, though. After you sealing it.
So yeah, what happened was we was going to get it done under warranty, and we went up. If you guys want to watch that video, go back and watch it. It was back about September of 2020, in that range. We went up to the dealer. They took a look at it. They got numbers off of everything, and they placed an order for a replacement window. And in the meantime, we had it sealed off, and there was no more problems. The silicone that we put across the top fixed it, and we didn't have an issue with it. So they didn't know if the window was going to come in by the time we were going to hit the road. And I told Heidi, I said, well, either it does or don't. It's not stopping us. We're going to hit the road regardless. So it just so happened it came in. We went up, and when they started installing it, again, you guys can watch that video too. It's a little bit later. They ordered a single pane window. They were sent a single pane window, and we had dual pane in there.
They literally had the whole thing installed.
Yeah, they had it installed, and I'm like, you need to take it out. I don't want this. Knowing that we were going to go to Florida, we wanted those dual pane windows, double pane windows, and I'll have to say, I'll be honest with you, when we got our fifth wheel, we ordered double pane windows, and I don't know what it's like to have single pane windows except our old Terry camper, and I don't know if I want to know, because those dual pane windows made a difference. They were a little bit darker from the outside, and I'm telling you,
I remember the Terry versus, just thinking,
yeah,
the Terry versus any Rockwood that we had, that the metal frame around it was like hot to touch.
yeah.
Where you didn't get that with the Rockwood.
So, anyways, other than that, the travel trailer was awesome. It was great, and then that moved into a fifth wheel. So yeah, Rockwood. Whenever we joined on with them for the fifth wheel, that was part of us being brand ambassadors with them. Great unit. There was a few small issues that we had with it. Nothing serious. Nothing that caused us any headache. Nothing that put us out. We had a roof seal that was soft that they fixed at their frog rally. There was a shower door that busted because of me. I'm sure of it now. I wasn't at the time, and they took care of it anyways.
Well, they took care of everything.
We had a solar panel wiring thing that was a little off. I fixed that. Not a big deal. I didn't like where they mounted the subwoofer. I did a video on that. We moved that. Just little tiny things. Nothing major. And of course, we were living in it full time, and it was a great unit. So I'm thinking that that's probably the products that really stick out in my head, that I just really think that I can't see it doing it any other way other than with what I just mentioned to you guys. Now, there's some honorable mentions, I guess you could say, if anything. I mentioned just earlier, snap pad. I love those snap pads that go on the bottom of your level jacks or your stabilizer jacks. I mean, we pull into Walmart parking lots and it's hot asphalt and stuff, and I don't have to worry about them sinking down in the asphalt. We're on, on asphalt or on concrete, those metal to concrete, they like to scrape and move around on the pad on the ground when you're leveling it, versus those snap pads just lock in and hold you nice and steady. At least to the limitations of what the stabilizer jacks can do for you. Yeah, great. We had them on the travel trailer, and of course we had them on that. Let me see. Another honorable mention I'd have to say is probably the Motica. So who's that? Tank level. The tank level.
Yeah.
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 Well, they came out with newer designs.
Yeah. It did work better the second time.
Right. And then the Level Mate Pro, which again, I wonder if Beach Lane has his out now. He may have a version. I helped with. He asked me some questions about the design and the way I thought it should go. So I told him. I mean, he gave me some choices, and I said, "Listen, if it was me, I want a number. I want it to look like this, and I want to be able to read quickly how unlevel my RV is." So yeah, those are kind of. Oh, and Micro Air.
Yeah. Easy Start.
Yeah, Micro Air Easy Start. That's another one that I like. However, there's another company that's out there that's out of Miami. Can you remember what their name is? The one that sent us the 30 amp adapter that wouldn't work because we had a transfer switch. Remember?
Oh, we still have that.
Yeah, we still have it, and we're holding on to it in case we have a 30 amp RV at some point, which I doubt it.
Oh, it slipped my mind.
Excuse me, guys.
Remember.
Anyways, that company's they're nice. I talked to the guy. He's an ex-Army guy. He was in at the same time as me. He's an engineer. He worked for a couple different companies, and just a great guy to talk to. I can't remember the name of the company.
Bill Utah, old name.
Oh my God, Bill Utah.
Sold his Grand Design and got a Rockwood.
All right. You know what I want everybody to do? Just if you can at some point in time. I'll be totally transparent with you guys on this. We've been talking with Rockwood Marketing, like doing some sort of an agreement with them again, because it was really nice. Everything went really smoothly great the last time, and we love talking about product that we feel really comfortable saying is good. We have good luck with it. And Rockwood's one of them. So if any of you guys have any influence that has occurred through us based on what we said and what we were doing and what we were experiencing with our Rockwoods that helped you make a decision to purchase a Rockwood, or heavily consider purchasing a Rockwood, or in the future, when you retire, you're going to purchase a Rockwood. If you could at some point in time just send them a random mail to marketing, I guess, right? Would it be marketing or just customer service in general?
You could just do customer service.
Yeah, just do customer service. What was our customer service guy's name? I liked him a lot. We met his whole team. Roger. Yeah, Roger in customer service, but him or Anthony Yoder or Steve Byler.
Yeah.
Steve Byler. Anybody out at Rockwood, if you want to drop a line and say, hey, just let you guys know that we bought our Rockwood based on, just so they can get an idea of what we may have done. You know what? It might be a flop. What I just told you guys to do, there may be two of you that say, yeah, we bought a Rockwood. And I'm going to say, and they'll get two emails that says that. I decided to buy a Rockwood hat because Mike talked about how good they were. And there's two. That's fine. I just thought that, I know that it's really hard for companies to necessarily see, they don't necessarily see what has happened, with us talking about something, and there's something else. A lot of times we tell you, hey, if you decide you want to order this power station, use this code and, go in there and take a look at it and make a purchase or whatever.
We never know that.
We hardly know that because a lot of the reportings are bad.
Yeah.
But that's what that is for. That's so they can say, listen, we need to continue to go through this avenue, not necessarily us, but YouTube in general. So if you guys like to watch YouTube and get information on stuff, and you want to continue to make YouTube a viable means for advertising for people, you'll have to let them know somehow. And the way that you do that with at least a lot of the stuff we do is you then use that little code, and every time you use that code, those guys say, hey, look, this guy did a review on our power station 6 months ago, and we've been clicked on, that special link has been clicked on 280 times in the last 6 months. So that lets them know, wow, that's something that we need to consider moving forward. Again, same with Rockwood. I don't think that they have that same kind of feedback because we don't have a link. We've never had a link that said, hey, if you're considering to buy in a Rockwood, here's your contact that you need to talk to, and use this code RVDaydream to let them know that you're thinking about it. That's basically what we're asking for you guys to kind of, I'll be honest, kind of campaign for us. We're not going to talk politics, but campaign for us on some level to say, hey, listen, we like seeing Mike and Heidi talk about Rockwood so we can get an idea of what you guys have. It's just nice for them to know. Same with we forgot a big one. I knew we forgot one other vendor, Blue Technology. Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
100%. You guys are going to see a new video coming up. They've got new product. They've got it's so hilarious. One of the products, again, I'll be doing a video on it, is directly available because the CEO of the company, whenever they had us go over their products, their water softener and their filtration system, something I rigged up on the RV, he's like, that ain't gonna work. I need to make something so he don't do that. And that it works even better. So you'll see that.
Two things.
Yeah, there's actually two things. And he told us flat out, he goes, I'm going to be honest, he goes, the reason that I have these is because of your video. So yeah, Blue Technology, that whole water filtration system, as far as I'm concerned, is still definitely the best one out there. If you guys have some other need or want, or you just feel weird about that system, we had Clear Source prior to that. We still have, an okay relationship with Clear Source. We've actually said that we prefer the Blue Technology system over the Clear Source between the two. If I had to go tomorrow and re-outfit myself with any of them, the only way that I would do a Clear Source is if I was wanting to mount it on the outside and just leave it there. Yeah. It's not as polished looking, I guess you could say, as the Blue Technology. It's like it just looks like something that you would see outside of a Florida home. Filtration, water tank, water pump, it's all right there. That's kind of what I get from Clear Source. It's like a heavy duty thing. Well, I'm going to say that the Blue Technology for the RV crowd, we don't need that. Blue Technology is the way to go. You need that one because it's smaller, it's lighter, and it looks nice. It looks really, really nice. It's a nice setup. Anyways, he's actually, like I said, there's some new product that they're talking about that we can't talk about. But yeah, the other thing is because I made up, if you guys remember, I had the water softener and I mounted it inside our fifth wheel. Remember that big chrome water softener tank? Do you remember how I mounted it? I took one of our propane tank hold downs from the fifth wheel, and I didn't like the way the propane tanks were mounted in the fifth wheel. I just wanted to use straps to hold it down instead of these metal brackets that were really hard to get them in and out. Those 30-pound tanks with those metal brackets. But those metal brackets, if you cut them down, they worked really well to hold that water softener. So after he saw that, he decided also to make a bracket. So they came up with a bracket to mount that. But yeah, so that was the other company. I knew there I was missing one. Yeah, Blue Technology. Matter of fact, they're up there. They're up there. I
don't know how you left them out, but
because I was going in the order of what we
right,
and they were they were like the last ones that we joined on with.
Yeah.
So that's enough about products. I just wanted to talk about that in case you guys are unclear why we are doing all these reviews and at some point it's like a blur. He's talking about this now. Is this what I need? Do I need it? Is it the best one out there? No, I think a lot of times a lot of the stuff that we talk about is just letting you know that it's available. But those products that I just mentioned, that group, if you guys are it's almost that was a need for us, and really, really nice. Really, we really, really like them. So now, with that all put aside, I'm gonna get a drink of water. Everybody hear us okay? Make sure that audio's still good.
Oh, I think they would let us know that.
Yeah. So, what do you guys have questions about as far as what's going on currently? Oh, this is my shirt I got in Mexico. It was always too hot to wear it until we got here. So, yeah.
I'm sitting back.
And just let you know that El Grande, I am in Mexico, you get a 4X shirt. Even though I'm an XXL guy, if you go to Walmart and I buy a t-shirt, I buy a double X. You go to Mexico, you buy a 4X.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Utah Bill, I'll be darned. Bill and Livy. We'll have to remember that. I just remembered Utah Bill so easily.
Well, I seen him last. I remember him from last.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, so do you guys have any questions or anything for Heidi? Is the snow all gone? I think it's gone now, right?
Yeah, there might be a little bit in the parking lots, but I think it's all gone around here.
Yeah, we didn't get we didn't have any bands line up over Lake Erie and dump on us like Summit County, I think. Yeah, Summit County, Portage County, western parts of Portage County.
Yeah, we had snow a couple days ago, 3 days ago. Was it 3 days ago? 3 or 4 days ago we had snow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple inches. When you're recording.
Our
baby.
Christmas tree's on our front porch.
Yeah. I have a Christmas tree. I have a silver tree.
Oh, yeah. Heidi's got a desirable. It's a 6-footer, right?
Yeah. But I run out of energy. Hope my grandson don't judge me. I don't care about anybody else.
The Christmas tree that Heidi's talking about it has the old rural route number and it was picked up at a hardware store.
Late 50s, early
60s.
Late
50s, early 60s. It's one of those tinsel trees. One of those, I had one when I was a kid. I remember we had one. And so that I have a picture of me on a tricycle in front of ours, and it was in 71, I think. I think it was 71 that we had ours. And then Heidi, of course, when we moved into the house that her grandparents lived in since 1944, one of their newer Christmas trees was that silver one.
When you're
scoping out our closed wet bay to install said blue filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the installation is actually not bad.
Yeah.
It's really not bad.
Especially if you do the quick disconnects.
I know this sound. I know I'm going to say this. And it's going to sound like, Jesus, he's just trying to get me to spend money. The easiest way to do it is buy their whole system, all their fittings, all of their lines, and make sure you get one that's long enough to get to the pole, because they're all stainless. They're all made perfectly. You don't have to worry about non-matching metals to where they get caustic and seize up. It's so much easier and it's so much better. It's really, really, really nice.
It takes the stress out of when you get to the campground.
Yeah. I was so upset when we would get, because we had a 20 foot, or what was the steel hose that we got? Was it 25
25.
Yeah, I think it was 25 foot.
Yeah.
And a couple of times we got into campgrounds that we had to go like 35 feet or 40 foot. And I was just like, oh, I should have bought a longer one, because now I got to get out a stupid rubber hose. I hated it. After using that steel braided line, it's like, oh my God, that stupid rubber hose sucks. See, John, Heidi Mike, I have a lead acid battery in my RV trailer. I'm planning on switching over to lithium 300 amp hour battery. What do you think with no solar? We did the 200 amp, but we did have solar. We had that one 200 amp hour in our fifth wheel. A company reached out to me just recently with another 200 amp hour offer, with another offering, and I told them I really wanted to do another 200 amp hour video. I did a couple of videos on the 100 amp hour from Go Kilowatt Hour, Go KWH. I liked both of those a lot, and they do make bigger ones. I still like the fact that they both had gauges in them to tell you right on the battery what's going on.
The last one had an app.
But the last one that I did the review on had a Bluetooth and an app.
Yeah.
So you could just sit on your phone and go, oh, that battery looks like it, a little low, a little high, whatever. And you could change settings on it to accommodate whatever you got going on. So, yeah, the whole idea with the batteries is the technology it's gotten up there to where it's kind of hard to dial in. 5 years ago, Battleborn. Yeah. Everybody was doing Battleborn, and they were so expensive. The competition started and they all got good. They really got good. A lot of these got pretty good. You still have to be cautious, even though they have built-in safeties that they don't, they don't try to charge when they're below freezing, and they don't try to charge when they're too hot. And if they get hot, they shut. Even with that, I would still say you need to keep an eye on your batteries and realize, hey, it's cold out. Maybe I should make sure that, stick a light bulb in there, to keep them at a more comfortable temperature so you're not hurting the battery. But for the most part, all of them are really, really good. They're not bad. Without solar, though, I mean, the 200 amp hour, as long, it all depends on how long you're running on the battery. I guess the solar's just nice because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to concern about, oh man, I ran the fan all night last night because it was so hot inside the RV. And I did watch TV before I went to bed. Oh yeah, I took a shower and the water pump ran the whole time. Or all the time it was, about a time. And I washed, dishes or whatever, and the water pump ran then, and the refrigerator flipped over to 12 volt, or I got a 12 volt refrigerator. I mean, all that stuff takes away from that battery, or, batteries. But the whole thing was the solar panel was on the roof. And I knew the next morning, as soon as daylight came out, that I didn't have to worry about the battery. It was going to get its charge for the most part because I had a couple of solar panels up there. But even staying overnight at Walmart, as soon as I fired up the truck, I knew that it would start charging that battery if I didn't have any solar. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to get that, make sure that you do your homework, because through the normal wiring system, through your 7-pin connector, that your truck supplies a little charge to the battery to help the battery regain whatever it's lost. The only way you're going to get the full benefit of a lithium battery being recharged, again, driving down the road. If you're doing this whole, hey, I'm going to Walmart and going to stay the night there, then we're driving so far, another 400 miles, then we're going to stop at a Cracker Barrel for the night. And then we'll get to our destination. And if you don't have solar panels and you stop at that first place and you use all the stuff that you plan on using, and then you hop in your truck and drive 400 miles, the truck's going to try to charge that battery. And you need to, the best way to do it is if you get an isolator for your battery that does the correct voltage demand, because you can burn out your alternator if you ran a wire, then like an Anderson connector, right to your battery, your new lithium battery, because lithium batteries take as much as you can give them up to a certain point, and an automotive battery and the factory regulators that are on trucks aren't made to do that kind of real fast, heavy bulk charge. And you could overheat and burn up something.
He says he's regarding inverters. Do you prefer 2000 or 3000?
Well, we only had 1,000. We only had 1,000 on ours, and it ran, I can't remember what outlets it ran. It ran one TV. It ran the little refrigerator that we had in that little wine refrigerator. It ran that circuitry, and it ran our phone chargers, the outlets by the bed for the phone chargers, and we did all that on 1,000. I would say 2,000. So you all strictly fifth wheelers now and never consider the travel track? Nope,
that's not true.
Nope, that's not true. That is not true. No, we like the fifth wheel or the travel trailer.
I'd love to get a van to just head out for the weekend.
Well, yeah, just for the weekend. Yeah, we could definitely do that. I have no problem with that.
Because doing a weekend in a travel trailer just don't sound like fun to me.
Well, it is
if I'm
when we
working.
had the little one.
When I'm working, it's not fun.
Well,
So I mean, like we could just get in the van. It's already loaded up, and go do what we want to do.
we could get in the travel trailer, already loaded up, and go do what we want to do. The van, it's just a matter of, okay, so for example, especially being in Ohio. So Heidi gets off work, we hop in the van, and we drive through the rain for 2 hours. We get to the campground. It continues to rain for the next day and a half, and we're in a van. That's the thing that I have stuck in my head. That's worst case scenario.
We've been really lucky though.
Yes, we have.
We haven't camped that much in the rain. We are very lucky people.
I got 300 amps of battle-worn batteries and 200 watts of factory solar panels. Nice. That's nice. Yeah, the Battleborn was like the go-to, and nobody should have ever considered anything but Battleborn 3 years ago, 4 years, definitely 4 years ago, 5 years ago even. But whenever they were, they were like $900 a piece back then, I think. They were expensive. You could get cheaper depending on, anyways. There's so many out there now. There's just so many. So I don't really, I don't think that Battleborn's bad. I just think that there's so many different options now that something's got to justify it. Went from 21-foot travel trailer towed with a 3/4-ton gas truck to a 31-foot fifth wheel towed by a ton diesel. I personally don't think that fifth wheels tow that much better. And Bill, Utah,
They don't.
they do not. I'm telling you right now. That video, I wish we would have spent more time on it. I went back and watched that video probably 2-3 weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now. And I should have elaborated more about how disappointed I was with all the hype that I'd been hearing all these years about, man, I'll never tow a travel trailer ever again. That fifth wheel is awesome. It is the best thing in the world, man. Those people pulling travel trailers have no idea how great it could be. That whole time I had that trailer, it was all over the road, and I was white knuckling it. I'm going to tell you, every person that said that, I wish I could have them in front of me with their setup, their travel trailer setup, so I could tell them why they don't have it set up right. They didn't load the trailer right. They had the wrong truck for it, something. Because when we had our F-250 pulling the travel trailer, and the 30-foot travel trailer, and when we had our F-350 pulling the 30-foot travel trailer, especially with that Pro Pride system, forget it. I'm telling you, that hands down was far better than our fifth wheel towing experience. The only thing that could have probably changed that, which again, Rockwood fifth wheels now have available on their luxury version, as far as we know, is if I could change out the hitch. Now, if you guys don't know, Rockwood Ultralights and Rockwood Signature fifth wheels in the past, up until this point, and currently, they all have that Rotoflex pin box. That's proprietary to that frame. I cannot take that pin box off and put something else on there with an airbag to be adjustable or smooth out the ride. I couldn't take that off and make a turnover ball. What's that called? Why am I ball hitch? What's that called though? Why am I, you guys can type it in. I can't. My brain's not working right. I couldn't change the pin box to put a post on it. One of those things that use the ball in the bed of the truck. I couldn't do that with anything fifth wheel offer at that point. However, these new luxury models they have are definitely not that. They have a pin box that, first of all, has some gooseneck. Thank you. Gooseball, gooseneck. Yes. The new luxury models that I saw, they have traditional style kingpins on there. And some of them, the cabin, if I'm not mistaken, has an airbag already on it. Now, that may change my mind about the way that they go down the road. However,
It wasn't terrible.
I could, and Heidi's, I had a lot of experience, obviously, with with pulling trailers. You know, when I was in the Army, I towed water buffaloes and generators behind fifth wheels and deuce and a halves, fifth wheels, 5-ton wreckers. I towed a big generator and a water buffalo, and in deuce and a halves, I towed a lot of trailers on, you know, pintle trailers, and I had experience with that. When I, growing up to some extent, when we lived on our little, it wasn't even a hobby farm, it was just 5 acres. We had an 8N tractor, and we had a trailer that I would pull, just a utility thing. So I had some, you know, comfort with that also. But when I got in that travel trailer and truck, our Terry camper, our pop-ups even, I could back. I just felt real comfortable backing them in, getting them wherever I needed. Whenever we got into our travel trailer, I made one little tiny mistake. Whenever, our Terry camper, I made a small mistake backing up one time, and it was just the way that the campsite was set up. The tree was leaning in, and you couldn't tell.
No, it wasn't really. It wasn't even a mistake.
Right.
I mean, you and I were talking, and
Right.
and it's not like you hit it hard or anything.
No.
We were going so slow.
Yeah.
And we kind of chuckled when we got out because the tree was like against the.
And then when I had our rockwood, I made one small little. I just barely skimmed the bark of the tree with the gutter. The very first time. Almost always, I never got myself in trouble with that travel trailer, being able to not get it backed out. And it's the same with the fifth wheel. I never got in trouble. But just to give you an idea, when we had that travel trailer from Rockwood, Heidi never said, stop, stop, stop. Hold on, hold on, hold on. She never said that. Not once. The very first place we went with the fifth wheel, she had to tell me that. And it's because I just couldn't see it as well. I couldn't understand, the geometry didn't make sense. And
well,
the
the
thing
trees were like this
Right.
on the passenger side.
But
And you got to a point where you couldn't see.
it had to do with me trying to use the truck to back and turn the fifth wheel in the spot.
It was a pretty tight spot.
And it was harder to get that fifth wheel started in its turn.
Yeah.
Because a truck with a bumper pull, you know, it's just geometry. Your axle's here, and for you to turn the steering wheel and just back up your truck a little bit, your axles move a little bit, but your bumper moves a pretty decent amount, especially with a long bed. But even with a short bed, though, it's about the same distance behind the axle. So it really, you know, to get that travel trailer to start turning on a pretty tight angle, it's not hard to do with just a little movement. Whereas the fifth wheel, you have to turn your truck in such a way that you have to get that axle to start moving in the direction you want it to go for the fifth wheel to start moving in the direction you want it to go. And that coupled with the ride quality with what we had. Now, we had airbags on the truck with an F-350, and with the payload and everything, we were well within our payload. That fifth wheel, as soon as, like I said, in the video, when we were coming back from the dealer, our very first towing experience with the fifth wheel, as we were going down the road, it's like, man, I do not see this. Oh, my word. This is the best towing experience of my life. I'm never going back to a travel trailer. It was almost the exact opposite.
I remember you saying, it's a pig.
Yeah. I was like, God, this
It's bucking.
it just didn't feel, it wasn't as comfortable as I was with a travel trailer.
It was weird.
But I will have to say that the fifth wheels did have benefits, especially with a long bed, being able to do some 90-degree stuff. Whenever you get into certain sites, you could just, and even hooking back up again. Yeah, I just, it's not the same. If you have a truck that's equipped correctly and you have it matched accordingly or overkill for the trailer, I prefer that. And I think that might be it. I think it's kind of hard to get a truck overkill for a fifth wheel because, you know, they still have a lot of pin weight and a lot of that. I guess that's a lot to do with it. I mean, our tongue weight of our travel trailer on the back of our truck, which, you know, is kind of far away from the axle. I think our tongue weight was about 1,300 pounds, if I'm not mistaken, for the travel trailer.
I think so.
And then that weight distribution, of course, you know, helps all that out. But with the, you know, with the fifth wheel, it was 1,400. But it was right over. You know, it's all on the truck. You got all that on the truck. There is no weight distribution to help put some of the load back on the tires of the fifth wheel, and you know, none of that. It's just different. Basically, would we ever consider a travel trailer? Absolutely, without a doubt. Our thing is I would really like to see and go over and explore those new Rockwood fifth wheels. They are very appealing, and I think with how much I jabber about stuff, you can tell. I think there's a lot of information I can pass on to you guys about what is, you know, going on, we think overall about the unit. It's just it's like that cabin. There's one that's they call it a luxury cabin, and it's all, you know, it's all one floor. You go up the steps to get in the fifth wheel, and that's it. It's flat. You don't go up and down steps anymore. And underneath is storage.
Is that the front kitchen?
No, I think the front kitchen is not. It's a luxury, but it's not the cabin.
I can't remember.
But yeah, there's one. They even got a front kitchen now. That's something. Heidi's. We talked about front kitchens and front living rooms forever. So, anyways. My weight distribution bars are nice, but my truck ride's smoother without them. Yeah, there's a little bit of a weird stiffness that happens whenever you put those bars back on. Now, of course, we had that Pro Pride, and even though it was kind of stiff, I love that Pro Pride.
Yeah, that was.
And I hate to say this because there's so many people out there that's misinformed about it, so we don't like to really promote it. You know, what we did, it's kind of one of those things of do as I say, not as I do. But it can be done, obviously. You know, with our truck, because we had so much stuff in the bed of the truck, and then we added, you know, the travel trailer and you know, the tongue weight and that Pro Pride hitch and everything. We did have airbags on the back of the truck, and I could screw around and dial it in and play around with that to get a really nice, good, comfortable, solid feeling ride. Very comfortable ride. Do I suggest you put airbags on with your travel trailer with weight distribution bars? No. I don't suggest it. However, can you do it? Yep. And as long as you just do it right and don't defeat the whole purpose of those weight distribution bars. You know, it can be done so easily and you won't even know it. You just gotta, you have to get a good, not everybody has a good seat of the pants feel of vehicles. Some people just know, they go to, I mean, you've seen them, they're driving down the road and then it's raining and all that stuff, and they don't even realize they're hydroplaning. And they just keep on, you know, have their cruise control on and just sitting back, and they don't feel any of that. Same with ice and snow. But the same with towing. You know, some people just don't feel that. They don't feel the truck moving around in a way that's not normal. It's not tracking correctly. That's there's not enough squat. There's too much squat. The front end feels light. The braking feels different. There's so many things that a lot of people don't feel, and adding airbags to the mix. I mean, they could be, oh, hey, well, I'm just going to keep on putting air in here. And yeah, I don't know honestly if that's something you guys feel strongly about or not, but just be aware that you need to know what you're doing. I saw some things on there, but I didn't mess them up.
What?
Somebody said something about a big rig. They said they were biased about a big rig, but I didn't see what they said.
Right here. I'm biased to fifth wheel as I'm a trucker.
Oh yeah.
But my tow vehicle is a short bed, and I'm too cheap to get a slider hitch, so I'm stuck with the trailers until I get a new truck.
No, the Rockwood ultralight fifth wheels, they have a rotating pin box that is good for short beds. I didn't really like the design necessarily, but basically you put you hook up to your fifth wheel, your shoe, you put your pin in your shoe, and then once it's in there and it's all in place, they have this plate that you put in there and then put 2 bolts in to lock it in place to where that part doesn't move, so it won't spin anymore on your shoe of your hitch. It locks this part of the hitch, but this part back here now pivots. So basically, you're just adding an extension that pivots, and it's for short beds. That's what it's meant for. It's for the short beds. Like I said, it's Rockwood's thing. Again, I didn't really care for the design necessarily myself.
But it worked out.
Well, we never used it. We didn't use that feature.
Wow, right. But I'm saying that.
And that's why Heidi, and granted, if you're not doing it full time, and even if you are doing it full time, there's a lot of people that hate long beds. I am not one of those. I like long bed trucks.
Actually, it worked out.
Yeah, we loaded the whole 8 foot.
We never had to worry about coming close.
Yeah, turning radius.
Knocking the back window out.
Turning radius.
I mean, we've seen a couple of those in our travels. We didn't have that problem.
Yeah, it's fun going into the campgrounds and you see people like all these Canadians that we saw, they would come down with their fifth wheels and stuff, and they'd be making appointments and have, like the one behind us, they made an appointment and their truck was missing for a few days and they had a little rental car because they had to put a new back window in their truck before they went back to Canada because they knocked it out because they had a short bed. But yeah, we're long bed. And the other reason was for in our situation, the only way for Ford, the Ford, you had to have a quad cab. I'm sorry, that's a GM or you had to have a crew cab. That's a Ford term, crew cab, and you had to have a long bed, so you could get a 48-gallon gas tank, which we wanted. And the reason is because our previous truck prior to that had a 34 or 36-gallon tank in it, and I had all this range anxiety going on because the previous truck before that, we only had that 2019 for 1 year.
Yeah.
The truck prior to that I had for quite a few years, and I had that body style of truck for almost a decade. And that was the old body style Fords that had dual tanks. Well, 10 years of driving with dual tanks, you don't care about, if one of the tanks is getting low on gas, big deal. You just flip the switch. You fill them both up. You run one down to a quarter of a tank. You flip it over once you get to a quarter to that other full tank. You run that one until you're almost empty or at empty.
Bill says he has a 32-gallon tank.
And then you know that you flip back to that other one and you still have a quarter of a tank. Well, I did that for like 10 years. And not only that, but that 97 F-250 that we had with that big 460, that front tank was a 19-gallon, and I converted the rear tank to a 38-gallon. So, we had 54 gallons of gas. Is that right? 19 and 38. Is that 54? What's 19 and 8? 15, right?
17.
Oh, it's 17? So we had
9 and 8 is 17.
Oh, yeah, 17. So we had 57 gallons of fuel And I mean, that's a lot of driving. Heidi, she's over there. Her back teeth are floating. She's got her legs crossed. Saying, we need to stop and go to the bathroom. I'm like, no, I still got gas. Well, I went from that to a 36-gallon tank in that 2019. And after we did that 2019 with that little tank, I told her, I said, I can't deal with this. I think we can get away with a bigger single tank. It's just got to be bigger, or single tank, but it's got to be a bigger single tank. And the only way you could get that is that 48-gallon was with the long bed and what Jay was just saying.
Super
crew,
crew. Super cab.
Super cab. Oh, yeah, I remember my stepdad's 79 F-150 was a super cab. It says super cab on
You're
it.
going to be getting a gas or a diesel.
That's a tough one.
We're going to be getting a gasser, I'm sure.
Well,
but we're not going to be pulling full time.
right. And if we get a gasser, the thing is we got to have 430 gears. I've got to have 430 gears for it to match some of those big fifth wheels. And right, Heidi's right. We're not going to be pulling full time. And we don't plan on doing a lot of mountains other than Walker Mountain. That's about the only one. And of course, that one, I think the slowest we ever went up that one was 60, 55, maybe 60.
I think it's 50, 55.
When we were out west, though, I got caught on a mountain that it snuck up on me. I didn't know it was a mountain. I just thought it was another, we had a lot of this, where it was.
We didn't struggle or anything.
No, we didn't struggle, but unfortunately it caught me in
But if
between
you did
gear.
that, you wouldn't want to do that every day.
Yeah, it caught me in between a gear, and it's like I was doing 45, and I'm like, oh, crap. So I could either rev the crap out of it, it would take forever to get up to, I'd have to go to 6,000 RPM with that 7.3 gas. I'd have to rev it way out to get to fifth gear and be at a higher speed. And I thought, you know what? I'll just stay in fourth and we'll just do 45 or fifth. Yeah, fifth at 45 miles an hour.
You might have to turn the heat on. It's like cold in here.
No, it's not that cold. It's delightful.
That's not what he says during the day when he's got the little heater in front of him. But it's okay if he's cold.
It's just I don't want the house to be too hot when we go to bed tonight because the heat it's going to be warmer tonight than it has been. Which I guess the good news, if any, of being in Ohio here for whatever reason, so far this winter has been very mild. I plowed. I did the snowblower twice, and I didn't have to do
At either time.
either time. It's just we had the snowblower since we bought it, and I thought, well, might as well clean up the driveway. But yeah, we've had a very, very mild winter so far, but it's not
just beginning.
It's not
too.
February.
Yeah.
We always have some crazy weather.
And the weather here is crazy.
Yeah, we're not
Rain.
we're not used to it.
Rain. Like
Cloudy?
if it rains,
Cloudy.
If it rains all damn day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it don't. I hate rain, but I hope it don't snow all damn day.
You got to remember, this is us being in Florida for the last 3
We're
years at
spoiled.
this time of year, and being able to go outside and do something every day, with some exceptions.
Yeah, we
Very
did have a
rare.
nice summer here. It was
Yep.
nice.
Yep, we sure did.
We got to do a lot of stuff outside
Absolutely.
that we needed to do. We got our yard mostly cleaned up, almost all cleaned up. I mean, we did kind of run out of.
We have to do
Time.
some next spring. We'll show you guys
Yeah.
painting
Stay
the
tuned.
fence, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
27 foot, 5,500 pound travel trailer, tow with the EcoBoost F-150, tows like a dream. And that's a good one, especially if you're not, again, full time. But even if you're full time, that's a good size. As long as it's a true 27 foot. Tell me, Brad, tell me your model number isn't a something 27, blah, blah, blah. Tell me it's a true 27 foot. Even if it's a 30 foot, I think you'll be okay. And 5,500 pounds, that is really light. So you probably do have a 27 foot. The EcoBoost is fine. Whenever that engine first came out, everybody's like, this is awesome. It gets great gas mileage, all that stuff. And nobody ever told, and they won't, until later on. You either have eco or you have boost. You don't get to hot rod that thing every day and have great economy, just like you would anything else. Even though I like the engine, I think it's cool, and I'm a V8 guy, and I would definitely get a Coyote. I just seen another video pop up the other day, about Coyotes versus the EcoBoost over long terms and that, and you got both sides of the coin. But yeah, the thing that I don't care for with, and in our case, being when we were full-time on the road, towing all the time, or towing at least once a month or once every 2 months, it's the whole thing is my F-250, the 2019 F-250 Super Duty, and the 2020 F-350 Super Duty. Neither one of them got incredible gas mileage when we were just empty, just driving every day. Which most of the time you're not empty. You got hitches, you got propane tanks, you got generators and bicycles and whatever else in the back of them. So you're still loaded up. And in my case, I had a bunch of tools in the back, which is pretty heavy. But nonetheless, and that big mud flap on the back, like a windbreak. But the 2019 F-250 extended cab, long bed, 4-wheel drive, with the 6.2 and the 6-speed transmission with 373 gears would do about 18 miles to the gallon on the highway. If I drove it normal, it was about 19 miles to the gallon, I think, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty reasonable.
Yep.
And when you towed with it, it would drop down to 12 and 13, pulling 7,500-pound travel trailer. So you could see the drop wasn't crazy there. Now, when we had our F-350, that would I could get it to do 16 miles to the gallon if I took it easy and drove it nice. And that's just regular. Still with stuff in the bed of the truck, the hitch, that mud flap, and the generator, potentially, my tools, that kind of thing. But I'd get it to do 16. I think we even seen 17 at one point. But when we towed, that would drop down to around 12. Most of the time I was at 12. If I was really, going, if it was a hard tow, if I was doing a lot of speeding, if we were going through a lot of hills, we would drop down to where it was even lower than that with the fifth wheel, especially. The fifth wheel brought us down to like 8.5, 9. But the thing is with those heavy duty trucks, they don't get the best gas mileage when they're empty, everyday driving. But when they're towing, it's not that much worse than what they get before. Whereas the F-150s, they get exceptional, unbelievable gas mileage. But as soon as you hook that trailer up to it, it's like, man, it drops it. Obviously you're probably getting 25 to 28 miles to the gallon empty. But as soon as you hook up that, that trailer, and if you especially go through hills and stuff at speed, now you're down to 12, which is a big difference. But it's still it's a powerful engine. I like it. It's just some of that stuff is a little finicky. I just with the direct injection and valves and seals not getting lubricated that like they normally would in past engines, which they fixed that in later models, like in the later 2.7s. Just stuff just in general. Now my old 460 truck, it was like I think I got 14, 15, and then when we were towing it was 12. It was almost 12 everywhere we go. So that one was really close to the same, but we didn't have that big of a trailer, but we did load up the truck quite a bit too. and it only had a 4-speed or 3-speed with an overdrive. But yeah, the 3,700 payload, V8 pulls 36.6 fifth wheel. Well, that's nice. Yeah. Our fifth wheel was, let's see, we had, I can't remember what we were combined.
I don't remember.
I don't remember what truck and trailer was combined.
Yeah, I don't
19, truck and trailer combined, we were 19,
You have the papers.
I think it was
don't you?
19,000, 19,600, I think it was.
Something
For
like
truck and trailer combined, we were like 19,600. The trailer was fully loaded was 12, right?
12.5, I thought.
Yeah, 12,500. Anyways, we might have went a little heavy on that because we had so many options on it. It wasn't hard to. Okay.
We only had like, what, 800 pounds?
So Rockwood figures their payload that they tell you can haul in your trailers with a full freshwater tank. So they say you fill your freshwater tank and then you have this many pounds you can put in your trailer. If we were to fill our freshwater tank in our fifth wheel, because we had 2 air conditioners, because we had dual pane glass, because we had a washer and dryer, because we had what else was there? Was something else we optioned. Oh, because we had a bike, the luggage rack on the back and the hitch, and because we had the 2 solar panels,
We had a lot of extra.
we had so many extras on that trailer. Because we had all the extras you could pretty much get. If our freshwater tank was full, our payload available to us at that point in time that we could load into the trailer was 750 pounds. So you get an idea. We did not put hardly anything in our freshwater tank. Occasionally we would put 8 gallons. That was about it. Because we could not afford it. And we were right up on that, real close to the maximum payload. But our truck, being a gas, the payload was 4,000. It was over 4,000 pound payload in the truck that we could haul.
4,500?
I don't think it was that high, but I know maybe it's 43. And we had, I had all my tools in there. We had the generator, of course. Then you had the hitch. Then we had those totes in the front with oil changes and stuff like that. Anyway, and then we had the tonneau cover. When we had the travel trailer, hell, we had the cap on there. That cap was heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't know. It's fun to. I'm glad that we got to do everything that we did because we feel very confident and having a full grasp on what we can do and what we can get away with. It's nice to know that. There's a value to that, I'm sure. 2011 EcoBoost. Yeah, the earlier ones, like your year there, I was really concerned because they had that problem with that direct injection. The fuel isn't splashing over the components that it normally would if it was coming through the ports. And I know that they were having some coking issues and there were valve issues that were going on there for a while, but still good. Like I said, it's not everybody experiences that. 27-foot hitch to bumper, good. Sway bar, bed load, firewood, and some beer. Yeah, that's a good size. That's a good transport size. That's a good get around quick size. So we kind of, if you guys don't know, people that maybe just joined on with us, we had, let's see, we started tent camping with the kids. Then shortly after that, I got a Apache hardside pop-up camper that we refurbished and we camped in for a few years. Then we sold it. Then we went to tent camping briefly again. Then we got into a pop-up camper that we bought, completely redid the whole thing, camped in it twice and sold it. We kind of bought it as great because then the money from that had the yeah, that's right, Bill. I thought that was the case. They have an extra injector. But the money that we made on that pop-up, we then invested in the Terry camper, and that was our first travel trailer. And I've said this in a video. If you guys missed it, I'll tell you that was my epiphany. It was raining outside, not very heavy. I went out to the RV and I laid down on the bed for some reason. I don't know what it was. And I was sitting there listening to the rain. And at some point, in my head, I'm like, you know what? I could live out here in this thing. This would actually be pretty comfortable. And then at that same time, I watched that video that I've talked about in the past. I'm not going to go over that again, but I watched this guy that had retired and had what I would consider my dream home in Florida, swimming pool, just nice all the way around. And he's saying, I'm selling all this and I'm moving into my RV full time. And I'm like, what? I got to hear what this guy's got to say. What is he talking about? And he was just talking about how he's trying to save money, that he had this big swimming pool that he was taking care of it. His grandkids never come visit anymore. And his kids were all old. They wouldn't even live close. He didn't get into the pool, but occasionally. And then the electric that was involved to run the pool, and then the house and the mowing the lawn. And he said it just didn't make any sense for him to have all that stuff. And he'd just rather have himself his nice, excuse me, travel trailer. And he'd just rather move into that. And that kind of got me redirected in a complete different thing. Somebody said they're going to be in Tampa?
Mm.
Is that Patrick? Is that what it said, Patrick?
Yeah, so looking forward to going to Tampa show. It's past my bedtime today.
Oh, okay. Well, we might close this out. If you guys have any... Oh, Live in Our Journey 365. They just signed on.
No.
What time is it? Oh, my God. We've been on for 2 hours. This is a far cry earlier than what we normally do.
Yeah.
How many of you that's on watching now, how many of you were with us when we did our 8-hour live?
Oh, my gosh.
Was it an 8-hour?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 8 hours. Actually, one of them was longer than that, but remember that something happened to the video stopped, and I had to re-log back in again. Yeah. And we did like another 3 hours or something. But yeah, if you guys have any concerns, any questions, anything you want to see, let me know. There's not a lot of us on here actually tonight.
Well, just, people, Christmas, family.
Yeah.
Getting ready to, wrapping presents.
Bill Utah. Yeah, he was always there. Salem. Fun, 8 hours. Yeah. Did I miss it? Are we buying a fifth wheel? Oh.
Maybe.
We
don't know.
We're going to be going down to Tampa at the RV show. We're going to look at RVs there. So we'll be flying out of Ohio and heading down there and seeing what it's like, seeing what we see. What they say, press the flesh, run into some people, and yeah. I want to see fuel go down. Our fuel is kind of cheap here.
$2.49.
Yeah, our gas is $2.49.
Well, that's the cheap stuff. You don't use the cheap.
Yeah, I don't ever use the cheap stuff. It took me over 3 days to watch 5 hour one back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Merry Christmas. Yes, to you too. We're going to be doing family thing. We're doing family thing on Christmas Eve, family thing on Christmas Day.
Yep. Then I work a couple days, and then I get 4 days off or something like that. So I'm looking forward to it.
28 foot. Oh, that's not bad. 28 foot's not bad. I'll tell you where the problem begins with you guys with F-150s is when you get 30 foot is like the max, and we see guys that are 34, 37s pulling with 1500s F-150s. That is tail wagging the dog territory. I don't care. And the thing is, everybody that gets those they either don't realize that that's a problem, or they don't have that seat of the pants feel. They just don't know.
Yeah.
That is too much. That is way too much. But over 8,800 pounds too. When you start getting 9,000 pounds, that's a thing. And again, so is it Chris that says this? 28 foot to, how many miles you towing a year? I mean, our first year we did 22,000 miles. Would you feel comfortable doing 22,000 miles, through the mountains, the winds out west, the hard rains in Texas? Would you, any of that? Would that be a concern?
My shirt seat is uncomfortable.
Oh, show my belly. Heidi told me to pull down my shirt because I show my belly. It's summer when the girls start showing their bellies. That's funny. Yeah, I got a belly.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, John.
Yeah, I'm on that seafood diet.
Yeah, well, we're doing better than what we were doing.
Yeah, we are doing better than what we're doing. It doesn't make a difference though, because there's something else. For the last 3 years,
Oh, that's nice.
Last
Carla.
3 years. Oh, that's cool. Last 3 years has been constant weather situation. Short pants, big fluffy shirts, pretty much the same temperature. Yeah. My eating habits didn't change because I would be outside at some point in time. Even when we considered being a homebodies inside the fifth wheel or the travel trailer at the RV park, like I wouldn't go on as many walks, or I wouldn't, we take the trash out. Even with that, what we considered to be not really getting out and doing what we wanted, we were outside a lot more on a huge scale compared to what we are here in the winter. And I forgot in just a short amount of time how much a struggle it is in the winter being up north to keep the weight off, because you're not moving and doing the kind of stuff that you would as you do in the summer here or in Florida year round, basically. So yeah, I've got my weight up there. It's way up there. I'm pretty much max weight at this point. It's nice for the e-bike reviews, because those e-bikes can haul me around. They pretty much haul anybody around. Yeah, Bill, I know that when we had our Terry camper, it was 4,400 pounds, something like that. It was about a 4,400 pound camper. And I pulled with that 95 F-150, and that V8 had lots of power. Everything about it was fine. It was a good. I had helper springs on it. I had my weight distribution set up right. Everything. But the truck just felt a little squirrely to me. I felt some weird moving around when we'd go around corner stuff. I didn't like them. I just didn't like them. So then, whenever I went to that F-250 HD and I hooked that same camper up, I mean, that was like, what? Man, okay, I get it now. I really get it now. That's whenever we realized that overkill is definitely better, and man, did it feel, like you said, Bill, it was just night and day difference. I just felt so much more at ease. There was nothing. I didn't really have to, there's a trailer behind me and I'm paying attention to it, but I didn't have to think 20 steps ahead. I only had to think 5 steps ahead. It's just one of those things. 28 foot is the absolute most I do with a half ton. Done about 80,000 miles while towing the camper, but I do have experience with towing much heavier loads, so that helped. But yeah, if you got experience, if you got the good seat of the pants feel, you could get away with some stuff. Like with our F-250, and we pulled our travel trailer down to Paradise, and we didn't realize that not only did our truck have all the stuff in the back of it that it normally did.
No, everything we owned.
Everything we owned was in the truck and the travel trailer when we left to go to.
We were leaving.
Yeah, I think we were leaving at that point.
We were going to go.
Yes.
We were emptying our tanks, and then we were going to get weighed again.
Yes.
But we didn't realize that all our tanks were full.
All 3 tanks were full. I'm not talking a little full. I'm talking lots of full. So we had 50-gallon fresh, 45 gray, 45 black, and everything in the trailer and everything in the truck that was going with us full time. And as soon as I went down, and that's what now we're talking a 30-foot trailer with an F-250 with a Pro Pride hitch. And I'm telling her as we're going down to get our tanks empty, well, this truck, this feels pretty slow. They're sluggish. This feels strange. And then I'm down there and I'm pulling, and I said, maybe I'm gonna check the freshwater tank. And I pull that, and the freshwater tank just come roaring out. Here's what happened. Our son had taken a shot because we were selling our house and we were trying to get our water to pass. We didn't want to fill our septic system with any more water than it needed to. Even though our septic system worked fine, we'd never been through a septic test, and we didn't know what they were looking for and how much they were going to torture the septic tank to see if it was going to fail. We heard all kinds of horror stories. So we were having our son take his showers in our travel trailer. The problem was our travel trailer had that aqua saver, water miser, I don't know what they call it, that recycles the water whenever you go to lather up or whatever. You flip that valve, and what it's supposed to be is, it's not so much lathering up. What it's supposed to be is, when you first turn on your water, you flip this valve on first. You turn your hot water on, and you let it run, and it goes right from your hot water tank through that little valve and right back into your freshwater tank until this piece of plastic turns a different color to let you know your water's now hot. You can add cold to it, flip the valve, and now take your shower. Everybody runs their water to get it warm first, and then they add cold water to make it to where it's the right temperature, and that's when they get in it. The thing is, when you're trying to save water, they're trying to figure out ways to do that, and this little aqua saver thing, that's what there's there. Our son didn't know what that was for, and he flipped that on or had it half on or something, and he ended up, during his shower, he basically filled the freaking freshwater tank because it recycles what water's coming in, which in this case was a hose hooked to the house. It was just...
I'm surprised we didn't hear it flowing.
Yeah.
We just got lucky.
Yeah.
So we know all about water.
Yeah. Yeah, that was some good stories.
Yeah, shower
there.
Miser. Yeah, that's what
Shower miser, right. I mean, it's got its place, but we never used it other than to fill our freshwater tank before we left the campground. We didn't necessarily...
Yeah.
It was nice. We if you don't want to go outside, or when you first get to the campground, if you want to run the water for any period of time or whatever. We've done a lot of different things. What we would do sometimes is we would get to the campground, we'd hook everything up, and we, at that point in time, usually didn't have very much fresh water. We would dump our black, and then we would dump our gray. We'd dump our black. We would flush the black.
Yeah.
Then we would turn off the flush, and then we would dump the gray. And then
to clean out
we would put water in our freshwater tank in case the campground had crappy water pressure.
we could run off of the water pump in the RV to make up for that crappy water pressure. And that water miser was nice for doing that because I had everything hooked up. I didn't have to unhook the hose, put on a water spout, and stick it in the fill outside. Or in the case of the fifth wheel, I didn't have to go through and turn all the knobs to do a power fill. I just went inside, turned on the cold water, and then flipped the shower miser to take the water coming from outside and just put it right in the freshwater tank. And then just check it, in 20 minutes. We'd set a timer for 20 minutes and then check to see, if it's half full or whatever. And then shut it off all inside. You didn't have to go back out. And, that makes a big difference after traveling all day. You've done set up everything. So now you're all hot and sweaty and dirty. And you just want to get in the air conditioner that you've got running. You get into if it's a really hot day, you get into a habit of, as soon as you get to the campground, it's, hey, we need to hook up the electric and we need to turn on the air conditioners. And there's something else that we loved about the Rockwoods because it had all that Bluetooth stuff that I can control my air conditioner with. Well, that was something I added. I just remember that. Remember? We added that RV controller. Remember the air controller on?
Oh, yeah.
So I added that controller for the air conditioner. But the Rockwood, you could do all the slides through an app. You could turn on lights and you could put your slides out and everything through the app. But in addition to that, I added a thermostat that would run the air conditioners from outside. I could turn them on. So I would hook up the electric. I would look at my power surge dog. What's that thing called?
Watchdog.
Watchdog. Yeah, the power watchdog. I would look to see what the electricity was at the campground, see how good it was. And then if it looked really good, I would go ahead and I'd turn on both air conditioners on high. Then I would go through all the other setup. And then, of course, it being hot, I'd get in the RV and it's nice and cool. So once I was in there, I didn't want to go back out and dork around and try to fill my freshwater tank. That's when we would just fill it through the shower miser. Some states are weighing RVs, like actually calling you into the weigh stations from the highway. Nice.
Some of them.
I would have gotten in trouble twice.
Yeah.
I would have been over my stickers twice. Yeah, that's
Yep.
one. I can't remember where the one was. Jackson, no. South Carolina.
Well, that was when we left Vero Beach. We were over.
Yeah, I remember we were over there, but when we had the travel trailer, remember we got stuck in all that traffic cutting across?
Yeah.
We were coming south, and then all of a sudden we got on something. Was we going to Myrtle Beach?
I don't remember. Maybe.
And we pulled into that gas station.
That was before we were full-time.
Yes. They used to go into Pirate Land.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I think we were over then.
Yeah.
Yes, don't ask me how. I know South Dakota does. Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that. If you guys can hunt it down, I would. I don't remember which video it is, or I'd tell you which one. Man, when I seen that Toyota Tundra, is that the big one? Yeah,
so,
Tacoma's the little one. Tundra's the big one, right?
Yeah.
We saw that Toyota Tundra pulling that fifth wheel, and that guy hit that bridge. Man, I'm telling you, I'm getting senile, guys. I'm forgetting stuff, and my words don't come out the way they used to. The bridge.
Abutment.
I guess it's an abutment. I guess it is because it's butted up against the concrete. So where the road stops, the bridge starts. That seam is not always level. Sometimes the bridge has an arc, but the asphalt only goes a certain way. Well, anyways, when he hit that,
it's terrible.
I'm telling you what, that I've never seen. I swear his rear axle came off the ground.
It might have.
It just jerked that whole truck because some goofball told him, well, your thing's rated for that. I just don't know where people would want to. At what point in time would you buy something
No.
that would be. I'm trying to picture another industry or another product or something that somebody would say, well, listen, you use this internet will give you 500 gigabytes of data for the whole month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with this plan, I'm sorry, you use 500 gigabytes of data a month when you're watching movies and you're playing on your computer and doing Facebook and watching YouTube. You're going to use 500 gigabytes a month. So I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to sell you a plan that gives you 501 gigabytes. And it should be fine because it's rated for 501 gigabytes. And I'm looking here and you only use 500. Do you think there's no scenario whatsoever you'd ever go over that? I mean, your yard is 4 acres. And you should be able to get away for 4-acre lawn. This lawnmower company says that on a riding mower for 4 acres, you should be able to get away with this residential 54-inch cut mower because they say that it's good up to 4 acres.
It says they ask you for your numbers that your rig is rated for, which you should know that.
Oh, yeah, nice.
That's good.
We were way under the weight. Most of the weight is 12.3 plus 9,995. We were at 18.9. Yeah, we were up there. And they ask you for your numbers at your rig. I wonder why. I mean, they I guess,
it's probably just a start.
maybe they're wanting to see if you know.
Right. Well, no,
I mean,
that's
hell,
what
they
I'm
walk
thinking.
back and look on the sticker.
Well,
Then
yeah,
they
but
open the
you
door and
should
look at the
know.
sticker. Yeah, you're right. You should know. Yeah.
That's why some of these people are getting into accidents.
How many
and
people?
they're-
Bill brings up a good one. Everybody that's on here now, that tow RVs, tow trailers. How many of you know what you can tow, and how far away are you? I mean, how close are you? How close are to what your max payload is? For example, like the F-150s. I'm just using those examples because I'm a Ford guy more than anything else. Like F-150s, I know a lot of people, it's like, hey, this thing's got plenty of power. I could tow all day long with it. I feel comfortable with it. And here they don't, once they get their kids in the thing and they're over their payload. Their tongue weight is 800 pounds with the hitch. They put in their lawn chairs. And I know he's just mentioning beer and firewood. And then they put their kids in the car. And here their payload on their truck is, 1,000 pounds or 1,500 pounds. Yeah. Not much payload on the F-250. Yeah, right. Yeah, that. I remember calling Titan. I don't know how many times when I bought the 2019 F-250. I called Titan a couple times, said, man, are you guys ever going to do a gas tank? I'm tired of seeing these diesel tanks. Can I convert over the diesel tank somehow to run on gas? And he says, man, his answer was the EPA. It was Titan or Transfer, one or the other, those two companies. I know Transfer makes aftermarket tanks too. And he said the EPA, we can't mess with any of those hoses for reclaiming fumes from the gas tank. So I thought it was kind of funny that I didn't have that. But yeah, I know the payload on the F-250 was 36, I think.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. It's kind of hard to remember. I mean, being a gas, it wasn't very. That engine was real light. That 6.2 was really light. But yeah, it's funny. A lot of people don't know. That's like a public service thing. I wish the RV guys were. Thing is, they're just trying to sell products. So.
Well, they are. They do.
I know they say it, but
I mean,
we had extremes.
We went They raked us through the coals.
Yeah, they don't do a gas engine. He said it had to do, the EPA and all the reclaiming and the recirculation, the return lines and all that stuff. They said they just can't mess with that stuff. You have to go get it all recertified. That. Yeah, but yeah, I remember we went, and before we could even go back and look at travel trailers at
One in
Campers
Pennsylvania.
in Pennsylvania, that guy wanted to know exactly what I was driving before he would go back and show me trailers. Now
That were all locked.
right. Now the thing about that was it was a ploy to get us to sit down more than anything else, so he could talk financing and see what he get. You know what? I didn't see another person in that whole place, and it was in the off season.
Yeah.
And yet this guy wanted to qualify me before he wanted to waste any of his valuable time in this empty building at his desk, showing me trailers that I could either not afford or my truck wouldn't tow. Here's something I learned a long time ago when I was 20-some years old. I worked at Summit Racing. I had a guy call up and tell me that he wanted to buy this big Chevy camshaft. It was like 580 lift, and it had a big lobe separation. And it's because his friend had it in his car, and he locked away at rumped at idle, and he was all excited that he was going to put it in his Camaro. Scratch that. In his car. He didn't tell me what it was. It wasn't a Camaro. His friend had a Camaro. So he's telling me, this is the cam I want. This is the cam I want. And I decided, I didn't want the part to be returned, because I just came from customer service, and we hated returns. So I wanted to make sure that when I made a sale that it was accurate and it was going to work. So I was qualifying what he was going to purchase. So I asked him some questions. And for you guys that are hardcore car guys, as soon as I start talking about this stuff, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. So this is a big camshaft, and it is a solid roller camshaft. Sorry, a solid lifter camshaft. It was not a roller. It's just solid lifter. So the first thing I did was ask him about the compression of his engine. And he told me that it was 10-1. He knew it was 10-1 because they shaved the heads and they raised the compression. So I asked him about valve clearance and the piston, if he did they fly cut the pistons or anything for the extra valve clearance. It's going to be needed for this extra lift and duration. And he said, oh, it's all taken care of. They're good pistons. He's going on about it. I'm like, all right. Then he goes on to tell me that this is a 305 engine, not a 350, a 305. Now, everybody knows about cars that those 305s, they're not performance engines. They never were performance engines. They were detuned, de-stroked. They were pollution control engines back in the era, whenever gas prices were, the gas embargoes and all that crap. They're horrible engines. It'd be different if he said he had a 350 and it was a they all had 4-bolt mains. I love those. Those guys, no matter what they had, that 350 was from a Corvette and it had a 4-bolt main in it. Even though he never had pan off it, he just knows it was from a Corvette. It's a 4-bolt main. Well, anyways, getting back to what I was saying, this guy had a 305. And as I asked him, I said, what kind of transmission you have? He had an automatic. I asked him about a stall converter. He said, oh, it's got a little stall to it. Then he tells me his rear end gears are 273s and it's in a Monte Carlo. And I'm like, oh, no. I said, your car's too heavy. Your stall converter's not high enough. And your, the carburetor that he had was just all wrong. I said, this is not the camshaft. I said, you can't put this in there. I said, it'll sound great at idle, but it's just, your car's not going to do anything you want it to do. So With that, I'm thinking I just qualified this person like that guy was trying to qualify me as, can my truck pull it? Can I afford it? I'm telling this guy he can't. I learned the most valuable lesson about sales. I hung up with this guy. There was only 15 salesmen on the floor that day. And there was like 3 of them in my aisle. We all worked together. And when we didn't have a call, we'd turn around and we'd BS with each other. If somebody got a call, we would push the button and we'd turn around and start talking with them. That person would start talking with the customer. So I turn around and we start talking. And within 2 minutes of us talking, this guy named Andy, who's behind me, sat behind me, he said, thanks for calling Summit Racing. This is Andy. Can I help you? And he turns around and he starts working with the customer and he goes, okay, what do you got? A 305. What are you looking for? What camshaft is that? Okay, you got the part number? And he goes ahead and he types in the part number and all that crap. And he says, all right. He says, I'll go ahead and get that out for you. And he says, you'll see that there in 5 to 7 working days. And he hung up with the guy. And Andy turned around and he had heard my conversation with the guy. And he goes, and that's why you sell the customer what they want. He goes, it doesn't make a difference. Now, Bill, you say something about the customer is always right. I remember during one of our seminars that we had, again, I was only 20 years old. Her and I just started dating. And so I was 23, I think, at the time. Yeah. And I remember that, or was I 24? No, I was 23 because you was 19. Mm-hmm. And I remember that at one of the seminars that you were taught customers, how to deal with customers, we had this one girl that was a real smart ass. Nobody cared for her. She was when she come to the seminar, she wanted to act like she knew everything. And we went to the seminar and this guy, a real big dude, we were in kind of a horseshoe desk shape. And he would be in the horseshoe kind of walking around talking to us and that. And he says, you know what the deal is? The customer is always, and this girl, of course, because she knew it all, she had to hurry up and say, right. And he screamed at the top of he had a big voice. He screamed at the top of his lungs, right in her face, slammed his hands on the table. He goes, wrong. He goes, customers aren't always right. He goes, they're rarely right. He goes, you can't tell them that, though. He says, so I want you to take away with the customer's not always right. He says, they're very rarely right. He says, but this is the way to deal with them to make sure they don't think that you're telling them something that they don't know already.
The customers are always right if they're dealing with the CEO of the company.
Nah. Customer's not right. I don't.
No, I'm just saying.
I had a lot of customer experience, just like Heidi's got more than me by far now, easily. But I did a lot of customer service
I just
work.
take care of the customer.
And the sad part is
whether they're right or wrong.
You try to protect them from themselves.
Yeah.
And they just don't. They have to learn the hard way.
Sometimes they do.
Yeah. But it kind of helped us with our kids, actually. Raising our kids, that taught some valuable lessons. It's like, you know what? I can tell you exactly why you shouldn't be doing what you're doing currently. However, I'm going to let you learn on your own why you shouldn't be doing what you're doing, because I can't teach you that lesson any better than you can teach yourself that lesson. Yep. And you're going to remember that lesson because you experienced it in a whole different way than being told. And that was through that customer service interaction. That was it. You try to protect the customers as best as possible. But so I don't ever say the customer's always right because of that. I remember that guy screaming. It's like, oh man, that was awesome. Because we didn't like that girl. We thought it was funny. She got yelled at.
Are you just about ready?
Yeah, I think I am. Yep, definitely. I definitely am. So, being knowledgeable is one thing. Being a know-it-all is another thing. Most people,
I don't know. He's a know-it-all, and he knows a lot of things.
I don't know.
He knows a lot of stuff, but he's a know-it-all.
Yeah.
Most men are know-it-alls.
I'm the first one to admit sometimes I'm a real butthole when it comes to stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if Heidi's helping me and I'm working on something. Oh my God.
It's the worst.
I am just barking orders because I want it done.
Merry Christmas, Jeff. But
Merry Christmas, everybody.
I do that a lot. But you know, first you got to identify the problem and acknowledge it. Okay. That's about it. I'm aware of it. I don't know if I could ever correct it.
Yeah.
But,
all right, we'll say your goodbye, Sonny.
Yeah.
Or you'll take 99 hours to do so.
Yeah, I know. So, everybody have a good holiday. Stay safe because you know, you guys know what to do. You know what you need to do.
We'll try to do a live maybe in a month or so.
He said buttholes united. Yeah, we'll I'm not going to definitely tell you we're going to plan on definitely doing anything. I know that I have another review video coming up in January. I have actually 2 reviews right now for sure that's going to happen in January. Ooh, South Jersey. There he is, South Jersey. I know, it's horrible. We're all in the cold. It's what are we doing? But our plan right now, just for you guys that have been watching us all this time, we're going to be getting into an RV at some point in time, and the sooner the better. If
not full time.
Not full time. It's not going to be full time. If we are going to Butthole Unite shirt.
Well, Mercedes, you're funny.
Yeah. If we don't know what that's. If everything, I'll tell you right now, if everything goes perfectly to plan the way I would hope that it would, in July, we would be in a new fifth wheel. We would have a new fifth wheel. However, we would be in, there's a lot of hard decisions we'd have to make at that point in time. Number one.
I have at least 2 years here, so.
Yeah, Heidi's.
I committed to 2 years.
We're here 2 years. But we also are not going to, if that don't pan out, we have other avenues. We just don't know what we want it to look like yet. And part of that has to do with us. We can easily get ourselves a good fixer-upper, really nice pickup truck and a really nice fixer-upper RV. We could go out and get a new RV. We can go out and get a new truck. We can go out and get a fifth wheel. We can go out and, have a truck that will tow that. But we're used to certain things. And there's certain things we don't need anymore because we're not full-time. But there's certain things that we would still like to have. For example, Heidi would never do some little tiny camper and then us go camping for 2 weeks because we're used to her spreading out, on the couch. As I'm working or watching TV, she's napping on the couch or flipping through Facebook. You don't necessarily have that room with some of these smaller RVs. So we're caught in between, and we can go to an extreme. We've talked about we want a snowbird at some point in time. Well, if we get a big enough RV or a nice enough RV, then we might make a permanent settlement with that fifth wheel so that we could snowbird with it, and not be towing it necessarily. There's a lot of things that could go into play here. Again, we don't have necessarily a direction that's clearly drawn out for us that we can see clearly. Somebody said pray on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we look to the greater powers. We have all our own ideas about that stuff, and I have no doubt that there's a more powerful person or thing, an entity than me, that if you do the right things and you think the right way, and you get stuff that happens for a reason. So
stay tuned.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll have Heidi close this out.
As always, we hope to see you out there. Bye.
Bye.